Hello, thank you so much for being here again today. This is Janine Sarna-Jones from Organize Me Inc. And I am back on the interviewing my favorite people horse. And I wanted to introduce you to one of my most favorite people on the planet. This woman is amazing. She is, how can I say this? Not only does she have a huge heart, but she is a phenomenal kick-ass financial planner in New York City and helps people on so many different levels. She also bakes. So, how could you not love somebody who also bakes? But I want to introduce you to my friend, Stacy Francis. She is the president and CEO of Francis Financial, which I met her when she had just started Francis Financial so many years ago. And I can't believe what she's built over these last couple of decades. She's amazing. And she's also the founder of Savvy Ladies, which is a great organization. You have to find out. If you don't know about Savvy Ladies, you are missing out because Stacy has made it her mission to educate women about financial issues and how they can be kind of the driver of their own financial destiny. And I would love it if Stacy, my lovely friend, would tell us why. But why did she found Savvy Ladies so many years ago?
Yeah. Well, Janine, I'm so excited to be here, and I feel like we're having a cup of coffee with all of my closest friends, because if they're friends of yours and clients of yours, they're people that I would definitely adore and love. Um, I never expected to go into becoming a financial advisor when I was a little girl. In fact, when I was in math class, I was the kid who I did not raise my hand, and I never expected to go into this field. But I had a really traumatic experience that taught me how important, particularly for women, how important it is for we as women to understand our finances, to be adding to our own financial security. And that experience was watching my dear grandmother, one of the closest people in my life, someone who just she was the grandmother, but she was also a friend. And I saw her stay in an abusive marriage. And you grow up seeing this, you see the bruises, um, you see someone who you love, I have to say in some ways kind of more than myself at that time, um, be hurt. And I was angry. I was frustrated. And I couldn't understand why she stayed.
Mm.
And she finally explained. And it was because she felt financially trapped. And there are so many women like my grandmother that do feel financially trapped, whether it's in a relationship or a marriage. It could be feeling trapped of having to stay in a certain career and not being able to, you know, explore your dream career or have experiences. You know, I money is not the most important thing in life, but particularly for women, it is key in giving us options, giving us opportunities, and most importantly, giving us financial security. And so watching her stay in this abusive marriage, which actually unfortunately turned deadly, he he killed her. And that is what gave me, again, the anger, the frustration, the passion to make a difference. And that's when I launched Savvy Ladies about 20 years ago, which is a 501c3 nonprofit. And we're doing phenomenal work. All of our services are pro bono. We've got about 50 workshops and programs each year online. Women across the country attend, and also the only pro bono financial helpline where you can work one-on-one with a certified financial planner, certified public accountant, a money coach, a divorce financial planner, you name it, we have the experts. And so I'm so proud of that. And I just offer that also as a resource, particularly we have a lot of women who come to us who their husband has passed away and they feel, understandably overwhelmed. They don't know what to do, where to turn. And, we want to be there to help them.
Well, one of the reasons why I wanted to have you on and why I wanted to share you with my wider network is because you had mentioned recently that you had come out with this guide for widows. And I was thinking about all of the times that we've gone in to help widows and widowers
Hmm. Hmm.
after a loved one has passed away, and to help them kind of re-energize or get their place in order
Yeah.
or deal
Yeah.
with all of the stuff that was left behind by their loved one. And I thought of you, and I had this like light bulb moment. People need to know about Stacy because we're a great resource to help people get to the next stage, um, and do the hands-on work. But you can help people on the financial end, and I would love it if you would tell us a little bit about your guide.
Thank you so much. So yes, through Savvy Ladies, we support a lot of women going through divorce and also through Francis Financial. And you mentioned that, I started Francis Financial, which is a wealth management firm. So many of the women are on their own. In fact, it's interesting, 8 out of 10 women at some point in our life, we are going to be on our own, having to make our financial decisions alone. And so I wrote this to help women as a essentially financial help for women to navigate this very, very traumatic journey of losing your spouse and helping them build a team, master their finances, and get their financial house in order. I know because many, and I don't know what your experience has been, Janine, but a lot of our clients that come to us through Francis Financial, they um, have been part of the finances as far as like bill paying, knowing where the checking accounts, the credit card counts are, but not as much in the investing, the financial planning, the tax planning as well. And so it can be really overwhelming to deal with the death of your spouse. And then on top of that, dealing with that emotional pain, having to drink out of a fire hose and get up to speed with the finances. It can be, extremely overwhelming.
Mm. Yeah, that's. I think that that's what the grief
Mhm.
gets in the way of like getting practical about the practical things you have to do. Because I know that, when I've lost somebody, it's very hard to
Yeah.
get through it and get some clarity. But, I appreciate the fact that what you're giving people is the ability to gain some clarity and while they're in the grieving place.
Yeah. And it's interesting because, I've gone through loss and my mom passed away about 10 years ago. And they call it, brain fog, and brain fog is really real where,
Totally.
it's, it's hard to remember. It's hard to make good decisions. It just, you almost feel like you've drank alcohol, and you're like, or you're walking through mud and it's really frustrating. And what this financial help for widows guide is really all about is to put together a plan for you. Many women, when they come to us after losing their spouse, are confused about what do I need to do first. It all feels very, very urgent.
I get that
And
too.
right, it feels
Yes.
very urgent, creating a
Yeah.
huge amount of anxiety, and it doesn't have to be that. So what's nice about our guide, and I'll give you also the information on how all of your listeners can get the guide so that you can use this. It's free of charge, and it's really meant to just support and help. But there are timelines of this is immediately what you need to do and the
Mhm.
easiest way to do it and how to get that information. Then here are the next set of things that you need to do for month number 3. Here's the next set of things that you need to do for month number 6, so that you can pace yourself and not find yourself sleepless at night worrying that you're not getting everything done with regards to the finances, because you're already dealing with so many other things of choosing the funeral home, getting the death certificate, writing the obituary, collecting all the financial records. There's so much to do. And there are, again, those are some real important things that you need to do in the beginning, but you don't have to do everything. So things that you can put off are, looking at your expenses and really getting a handle on that. That's something that's important to do, very important, but it doesn't have to be day, number one, week number one. Looking also at your financial documents, that is important, but you don't have to do that necessarily week one. Instead, week one, it can be just making sure that if you do have life insurance, that you reach out to that insurance company to let them know. That's more of the need to do sooner, because that money is going to come to you in liquid form that you can use to be able to fund some of the costs of those funeral expenses.
Right.
Um, in the guide, we also list out, other areas where you can have money, making sure that you have access to checking accounts, savings accounts for those short-term expenses, um, reaching out to the VA, the Veterans Administration, if your spouse has served in some capacity, also will help with burial expenses. And then Social Security, making sure that's another thing that you'll want to do in the first few weeks, to make sure that if you're not getting a benefit, that you can start to collect a widow's benefit. And Social Security can be very confusing. There's a lot of great information in there listed out, all about the details of Social Security, of what you're entitled to if you're a parent with dependent children versus what you're entitled to if your children are actually grown. A lot of information, but I think what's most helpful about the guide is that it puts it in time frames so that you can slowly do each piece and feel confident, and comfortable with what needs to happen next.
I'm amazed, that you provide this guide free of charge, and, that you give somebody such a gift. I mean, who's going through this kind of experience. Really, truly, you are an amazing person. And I think one of the things that I feel that when somebody is going through this kind of experience, to have that gift is so helpful. It's beyond, just beyond belief. And of course, you know how much I love you. So, um, is there any other way is there something specific in your business that you do to help besides the financial planning piece, when somebody has lost a loved one?
Yeah, it's a good question. We will have women reach out to us, and the loss has been very recent, actually within the last few weeks. And for them, we are helping them collect all those documents, those financial documents, to make sure that they are able to probate the estate, work with their estate planning attorney. Some individuals don't have an estate planning attorney. They drafted their will, years and years and years ago, and we can also make an introduction for them, whatever their state. And we work with, women in pretty much every single state out there. So we can help them essentially put together their team. And then once they have a clear understanding and we have documents to show all of their financial assets and liabilities, um, when they're ready, we can start to plan for their future. And what that looks like is actually doing a financial roadmap. It's a roadmap out till she's age 95, and we can start to answer some of those questions that she might have of, can I stay in the house? Um, do I want to move to potentially a different part of the country? Do I need to go back to work, or can I possibly retire? All of those questions that she thinks about and unfortunately worries about, we can run through that financial plan. And what it is it's essentially a beautiful crystal ball into your financial future. And we can look at all of these different scenarios. And that crystal ball also tells us about your investments and what they need to do to support you. So it will tell you, do you have enough to achieve what you want to do right now in your retirement and outside and with the income you have? Or do we need to save more and possibly, supercharge your investments in the way they're invested? Many women come to us and they're 100% on track and they can achieve their goals, and we can have a beautiful, moderately aggressive, portfolio for them that's going to grow nicely, but isn't, doesn't have a lot of risk to it. And then some other women come to us, and because of this loss, unfortunately, it's put them financially behind. And so we then can look at those investments and make sure that they're poised for even more growth so that they can be there to support them. So again, I would say it's a 3-step process where she will come in and we'll help her just kind of get a handle on all of the finances, where everything is, what the documents are, everything that she needs to move forward, and then creating that beautiful financial roadmap, knowing that things are going to change and we'll need to update it as we go along. And that then informs how we need to invest for her and how the investments that she has. And that's actually what we do. In addition to that financial planning, we are investing in the stock market and the bond market, and, monitoring the market, monitoring her portfolio on a daily basis, and making sure that it's working for her. And the one thing I will say, all of this work is really important, but we want her to be part of our team. So instead of doing this for her, we want to do it with her, because so many women haven't been part of the finances, and this is a wonderful opportunity for her to be part of that. And that's where putting her in the financial driver's seat of her finances, it might be new territory, but it is what is going to give her true self-confidence and true confidence in her financial future of, just having that understanding of where she's at. Yeah, and they can go right onto the website, www.francisfinancial.com, francisfinancial.com, and there's actually a button right on the homepage. And there's a section on our website that is particularly just for widows, with resources, more articles, as well as, this guide as well. So definitely, use that and share it far and wide. I've seen so many women go through trauma around their finances, especially more so because of COVID. We're seeing record number of women reaching out to Francis Financial for ongoing wealth management, as well as savvy ladies, women who are really dealing with financial crisis and who need pro bono support. And it's heartbreaking. But what I have to say, though, while it's very difficult to see, I'm so proud of these women taking ownership, taking control, taking agency over their finances to put themselves on that road to a financial secure future. Because so many women, unfortunately, our golden years are not that golden. The number 1 and number 2 largest population of women who live in poverty above age 65 are those that, number 1, are divorced or widowed.
Wow.
And no one wants that future. Your third wave, where you should be traveling, spending time with grandchildren, having new experiences and enjoying your life. um, it takes money. It takes money. You don't have to have obscene amounts to have a wonderful life, but you need enough to feel financially secure. And, if God forbid something medically happens, that you can afford that as well. So this is not a nice to have in our life when we talk about knowing about money. It really is a must have. And we go to the gym, we exercise, we walk outside to, strengthen our bodies. And I call it financial fitness. We need to be doing the same thing also with our finances.
I agree. You're making me worried now. It's
Oh
like,
no. Well, I mean, and the thing is, sometimes people worry too, and that Janine, I hear that as well because people will worry, and what it often that worry comes from is having questions about, am I doing enough? Have I saved enough? Am I on track? And that's what the goal of working with a financial advisor is, and having that team, because they can answer those questions for you. And usually we worry more than we need to be worrying. We're usually further ahead than even we realize. And so that's the other thing I would say too. And I feel the same way about jumping on the scale. I jumped on the scale this morning after, having a wonderful holiday weekend with our family who visited from England. And I mean, we had pecan pie. We really had, and I kind of got on and I looked down and I stayed the same. And it was wonderful. The fact that I stayed the same was just like such a wonderful gift. And, I feel like, it's the same thing with financial planning too. Like, you write that financial plan and you are covering your eyes and you look at it and you're like, oh, actually, that's not that bad. And even if it's not exactly what you want to be, where you want to be, there's a recipe then for you to follow of, okay, well then we need to do this and we need to do that.
Mhm.
And boy, doesn't that feel better of like knowing, okay, these are the things I need to do versus just sitting
Absolutely.
there and, fretting, as you try to go to sleep and worrying about all these different things that are going through your brain. Um, yeah.
For
So
sure.
yeah,
Yes.
there is. And I love what you're doing too. And, um, for all of you listening, Janine has worked with many of our clients who, one woman who I'm actually talking to her son today, um, and she lost her husband of many years, and they lived in I think it was a 3-story townhouse, that had been in for decades with more things than you can imagine. And she our client is so happy, because she worked with Janine and her team, moving her to a much more manageable apartment in the same area and able to keep the most important pieces to her, artwork and collectibles. And it's just a stunning sanctuary that she adores, and she actually likes it even better. And
Great.
it's wonderful for her, to not be on her own and have a doorman building and friends near and all of that. And you guys did that. And there's just no way that she could have done that on her own, nor could her children. She has 3 great children who have
Yeah.
full lives, right? And children and careers. And it
I
was just
don't
such
live very close by. That
yeah,
was,
that don't live very
yeah.
close by.
Mhm.
And, I know we're talking about widows, but, Janine helped me. Um, I will say I might have rivaled about as much stuff as I had in my apartment. And we had a flood, and I had that brain fog of, seeing so many of my things destroyed. And Janine, you said to me, I've never seen this. You've seen you this way, meaning like I couldn't make a decision. And I said, I know. And you said, well, let's just take it all. And then when we get to the other place, you'll be in a better place and we'll go through it. And we did. And thank goodness, and I'm so pleased and so happy. And actually all of you seeing here is the beautiful home that Janine and her team helped us set up. And everything is more organized than I've ever had in my entire life. There's a place for the dog leashes. There's a place for the seltzers. There's a place for the keys, and I can find things, right? Because they're in their places. And it's just such
Mhm.
a wonderful, wonderful gift. I love what
Yeah.
you do. And and I guess that's the final thing I'd love to end on is, um, you know, you don't have to do this alone, nor should you. Nor should you. And so the first thing really that happens, even before you get those financial documents, is to put that team in place, that team of support, so that you don't have to go through this alone. And working with Janine, working potentially with a financial advisor, you're definitely going to need to make sure you have a wonderful estate planning attorney as well. And there might be some, some other team members that you need. But you know what? If you know good people that are going to be helping you, they can make those connections and make sure that you have that support and those professionals coming on board.
Yeah. Good people often
Good
know
people,
good people.
right? Good people know good people. And
You definitely are one of them, Stacy,
yeah,
for sure.
well, thank you. And all I can say is how lucky your clients are, and I'm glad that you offer them these great resources. And yeah, so
I can say
everyone,
the same thing to you.
yeah, yeah. So feel free to go to the francisfinancial.com website, so you can get that wonderful guide. And if you do have any financial questions, feel free to reach out. My email is Stacy, Stacy, at francisfinancial.com. Happy to help you. And, if it's a good fit for us to work together, that's great. If not, we will find you the right resources. Also, again, the Savvy Ladies Pro Bono Helpline at savvyladies.org is a great resource for everyone, to help answer some of these really important questions you might have.
Thank you so much, Stacy. You are a wonderkind.
Oh, big hugs. Well, same to you. Same to you. Thank you so much.
Love you so much.
Okay.
Mwah.